All right, thank you, Mr. President, and through you, thank you to the council. Tonight we're here for an administrative hearing with respect to the dismissal of Joe Caponegro from the Traffic Study Commission. And as part of that, I'm going to start just by reading the removal of officials, section 3.4 of the city charter. The mayor may, in writing, suspend any officer who receives his appointment from the mayor, and in such case he shall at once report his actions and his reasons therefore to the municipal council. That has been done. The suspension of any officer shall, in 15 days after such a report is made, be a removal unless within that time the officer whose removal is sought asks for a hearing before the mayor and the municipal council. That has also been done. Such a hearing shall forthwith be granted and shall be public. That is being done right now. After the conclusion of the hearing, the mayor shall determine whether the suspension is justified, and the officer shall at once be reinstated or removed. So this hearing is not a hearing to adjudicate any matters. It's a hearing at the request of Mr. Caponegro, and with that, I invite Mr. Caponegro to, come up and say what you'd like to say.
Certainly will. The first letter also stated the reasons for my suspension and ultimate removal, and that was read, and it read, and I quote, "I am displeased with a number of specific issues I've observed with you on the committee, and more globally, I think there are too many ideological differences between us to merit a continued place for you in my administration." When I first became a member of the Traffic Study Commission and I took my oath, nowhere did it say that I was told that I had to support the goals or agenda of the mayor or the administration. Under the ordinance of the city, it reads that the Traffic Study Commission is under the supervision and control of the mayor, but it does not say that I have to have the same ideology of the mayor. The mayor is not always wrong, but neither is the mayor always right. I feel a mayor should respect and consider all views of any commission and boards. Neither is a commission or board always right, but not always wrong either. A mayor should consider opposing views, as they may or may not be better for the citizens of the city and the city itself. On any issue I consider while on the Traffic Study Commission, I always spoke for what I thought would be in the best interest of the citizens in the city as a whole. I have not been and never will be a yes man to anybody.
As the hearing officer in this, you and I have been over this with the city solicitor. This is my time to, refer to council members. Is a pre-agreed upon, process with this. So it would be appropriate for me to be calling the council members. I suspect you might be in the habit of doing that as the council president, but as a hearing officer for this, that would be my role.
Well, I thought we agreed to do a joint.
The administrative hearing was something that I was going to.
So then, fine, Mayor. Call who you like.
It would be the same person, but you respect
Call who you
the
like.
process.
No,
I would appreciate a little respect to respect the process.
You're
as
in
well.
my chamber, Mayor.
Right now, the rules are suspended. This is an administrative hearing. We talked about this with the city solicitor.
Mayor, I'm not arguing with you right now.
That's right, because we already talked about this.
So call who you would like to speak next, and I think there were some questions for you from, I think, Mr. Delicio and Mr. Kobus. That was the order I had.
Would you care to share in detail what the issue is? Because it seems very vague what the concern is. I'm hearing stretch code, I'm hearing Beagle Club Road, I'm hearing ideology differences, but usually for this to occur, I feel like there would be an event or something would happen to cause this, and it's a little bit baffling.
The city charter requires that I submit my reasons to the council, which I have done. I have also submitted those to Mr. Caponegro. This is not an adjudicative process. We're not adjudicating any reasons, judging any reasons. This hearing is about Mr. Caponegro's right to be heard in public. This is not about a review of my reasons for his dismissal.
A little experimental at the time. And this went on for quite a few minutes, and the mayor was saying, why aren't you supporting mine? Mine was the best. I've talked to people. It's not everybody wins, not everybody wins. But and this goes on for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, the mayor says to me, well, I'm the appointing authority, and I can appoint who I want to these commissions. I knew what he was saying to me. I wasn't going to be up for reappointment, and I quite honestly said back to him, I said, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I'm 68 years old. I serve on this commission to give back a little to the city of Attleboro. And if you don't want to reappoint me, don't. I think he got upset at me. I imagine you did, Mayor. You don't have to say yes or no, but that's, I think, started our disagreement. He barked at me again, I barked back.
So,
Let me add
please.
to that. The one comment that you had said during that, which you just omitted right now, maybe just forgot it, was, Mayor, don't strong arm me.
I might have said that to him, Mayor, yes, I might have.
You said, just to be clear about that.
Joe, and I'm sorry for you. And I apologize that you're here. I apologize from all of us that you are going through this, especially.
Well,
Disrespectful, period. And I apologize because you are a volunteer. And volunteers don't come easy. And we're looking for tons of volunteers still right now, and I'm going to be very damn surprised if we get any more. You know, this is just not the way you treat
Councilor
somebody
Jackson, do you have a
volunteer.
comment
That's it.
or a question?
I'm done with that right now, Mayor, until I get to you.
Is that he basically was supposed to leave this with his tail between his legs because you wanted him to leave. So because he wanted to show people that he's credible and that he didn't do anything wrong, or as far as he's concerned, he didn't do anything wrong, he shouldn't have done that. Is that what you're saying, Mayor?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What Mr. Caponegro could have done was say that I don't want to be part of this administration anymore, and here's my resignation, and nobody would have been the wiser that I was asking for the resignation. He brought this public hearing upon himself. He is the one who requested this hearing.
Sir, so Mayor, excuse me, if I may. Mayor, so I am suggesting to you to.
Another comment like that, I can have
please-
you ejected. This is an administrative hearing. Whoever said that. This is an administrative hearing. You'll grant this hearing with the same respect that a council hearing is granted.
So Mayor.
I'd like to just actually read another section of the city charter, and that is Section 2-5 in the Municipal Council, Article 2, Section 2.5, Prohibitions, and it's subsection C, interference in the administration. Neither the Municipal Council nor any member or committee therefore shall take part directly or indirectly in the conduct of any executive or administrative business of the city. To introduce, Joe, the Municipal Council having some type of capacity to interfere with disciplinary action would violate Section 2.5C of the city charter. Moreover, it would also render a mayor almost useless to the city of Attleboro, because discipline is the ultimate thing that a mayor and a chief executive is able to do. Other councilors with questions? Mr. Kobus.
And I think the mayor just answered my question, but let me ask you, Mr. Caponegro, I view this as a punitive action. Do you also view it as punishment, punitive, as opposed to simply not being reappointed?
I view it both as a punitive and a political action.
Same question for you, Mayor Heroux. Do you view this as punitive?
No, I don't. I view this as me doing what I need to do to carry out the agenda that I've established and that the people have elected me to do. And if somebody's going to work against that agenda that's appointed by me, I will remove them. Because if somebody wants to work against my agenda, they can run for city council, but they're not going to be an appointed member of my administration working against me.
Question is, when you say that he works against you, how has he worked against you in any capacity whatsoever? Maybe I don't know, I'm guessing, is it because of this last political election campaign?
As I've said, I'm not adding to the reasons I've already spelled out in the letters to the council and Mr. Caponegro. To answer your second question, is it personal? Let me ask about the campaign. Let me point out that Adolfo Sanchez, who's a member of the Traffic Study Commission, donated $100 to Heather Perica's campaign.
What does that have to do? Time out, Mayor.
Wait. No, this is an administrative hearing, and I'm answering a question.
So I'm calling a point of order, Mayor, to your administrative hearing. What relevance does the donation of anybody from the city of Attleboro to anyone's campaign have to do with a Section 3.4 hearing?
This is a direct response to Councilor Jackson's question. She asked me if this is political, and I am outlining.
I heard her say personal.
She said political because of the last campaign. Whether it's personal or political, you made reference to the last campaign. And I can name Adolfo Sanchez, Rose Larson, Paul Denese, all of whom donated to Heather Perica, none of whom have anything to worry about. I can also point out somebody on Dexter Street who had a Heather Perica sign, who's a appointed member of the library commission, the library, the library board of trustees, excuse me, library board of trustees, somebody who lived. So just because somebody supported my opponent, it has absolutely no bearing on this.
Then my
And there's
question
4
is,
people.
how has he worked against you?
That's not up for discussion. This is not an adjudicative process.
I have the same question actually for the both of you gentlemen. This process that we're going through, Joe, do you believe it's a fair process, yes or no?
No.
Mayor, same question. Do you believe this has been a fair process?
Yes, and the reason
Okay,
for that is
I didn't ask for the reason.
I
Just
can
yes
offer
or
the
no.
reason because
I
I'm the
didn't ask for a reason, just yes
Councilor
or no.
Reynolds, I am the
Just
administrative
yes or
hearing
no is what I
officer here.
asked for, sir.
I am the hearing
only asked
officer.
for yes or no,
You
and
are
my
not
reason
calling the
for that
shots.
is.
This is not a council meeting. This is an administrative
I'm only
hearing.
asking yes or no to the hearing.
You are not calling.
Did you
need
think
me
it
to
was a
eject
fair
you from
process?
this administrative hearing?
Your point of order, Mr. President, to this.
The president is not the administrative authority in this.
Do you
the
think it's a
mayor
fair
is. This
process,
is an administrative
Damn
hearing.
poor job of it then.
Did you think it was a fair process is what I asked, and you answered that question. That's the
And
end
I
of
can
what I
add
asked.
to that as the administrative. This
Okay,
is
then
not
give
a
me your
council
reasoning,
meeting.
sir.
The mayor is the appointing authority.
I know that, I realize that.
Please don't interrupt. The mayor is the appointing authority. The mayor is the appointing authority, okay? With the mayor being the appointed authority, the citizens of the city elect the mayor to carry out an agenda. The citizens did not elect.
This is not this is an appointee, this is not a
That's correct.
person that works for the city, sir.
That's right,
So what
and
I would have to say to you is that I agree, this is not a good process, and we should look at it as a council as a whole and change it.
As I was saying, Councilor Reynolds.
I don't consider myself a political appointee. I never have. I consider myself a volunteer who tries to take something that I know something about and volunteer for the city. So that for us was very important, that we wonder if there's a stated agenda, specifically if it's outside what I do in Traffic Study Commission. I didn't resign my rights as a citizen when I when I volunteered at Traffic Study. So if I wouldn't expect that I would have to ask anyone whether or not what I was going to speak on in front of this honorable body or anywhere, whether or not I was entitled to do that.
Joe Capernegro is a long-time resident of Attleboro and has brought a vast amount of institutional knowledge to our commission. His background in planning and development has infused much knowledge to our deliberations concerning ordinances, street design, traffic, and details of planned subdivisions. Joe has been a member of the commission for 13 years now. We have relied upon Joe for his leadership in our deliberations. However, members have brought their own perspective, knowledge, and experience to the Traffic Study Commission. We, as volunteer members of the Traffic Study Commission, understand that it is the administration's prerogative to have whomever they wish on each city commission. However, we are unclear as to whether there continues to be a need for these commissions if independent perspectives are not valued and if their agenda is expected to be put forward. We support Joe Capernegro and wish to see his suspension lifted, allowing him to remain on the Traffic Study Commission to continue the important work that this body brings to the city. Signed, Brenda Haskell, Walt Roris, Adolfo Sanchez, and Paulo Salguero Jr.
I don't agree with your approach. I'm going to be straight out. Right now, we have a conservation commission, and if you have any need to do anything within 100 feet of a wetland, you have to go to the Conservation Commission, and then they apply certain standards. And about 20 years ago, we then adopted a wetland protection ordinance. Now, when that was adopted, there was tremendous debate. There was a lot of findings that were made by the council at the time that the 25-foot was an appropriate balance. Because when you extend that out to 75 feet, you are taking away people's property rights. You're diminishing them. And therefore, I'll be curious to see what the Conservation Commission has to say. Maybe they'll be okay with this, but essentially, their job, you're almost saying, hey, I don't trust you to limit. They can limit cutting down trees. You know, in other words, in that 100 feet, you can't just do what you want. You can only do what the Conservation Commission. So that was my first comment. The second one is, I'd ask you to go back and look at the vernal pool treatment. Because right now, if you just have a vernal pool that's a pencil point, it's 125 foot all around it. So that you're denied any use of that land, and it's pretty close to an acre. When you go to 175 feet, it's well over 2 acres of land, forgetting about the vernal pool, that you can't touch. And I think that's really overreaching. The last thing I want to say is, a lot of times, if this does get enacted, people are not going to be able to use their backyards. There may be no trees there, but maybe they want to put up something, or they want to put a patio, they want to put a shed. Right now, they go to the Conservation Commission, and if there's not a threat to the wetland, then they do it with conditions. This is a pretty absolute, you cannot do anything. So there's a lot of houses in Attleboro that are within 100 feet of a wetland, and people will lose their ability to use their backyards because there's now a 75-foot no touch.
Well, property rights, individual property rights, the collective good is what I'm thinking about. I'm not terribly concerned about any, my father included.
We're going to part company on that, Mayor.
Well,
Because
just don't get in my way.
I'm going to get in your way. I'm not going to agree with that.
Well, like I said, just this
I
is the
spent
direction.
my career trying to protect people's property rights, and
Jim.
I see this as a.
Jim, I appreciate that, but first of all, please don't interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. Secondly, no one elected you. They elected me to carry an agenda for the city. This is the agenda that the city is taking, with or without you.
I understand that.
Okay, and Joe Caponegro decided to try to take the city in a direction that was counter to what I was doing, and that didn't go too well for him.
So is that a threat?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But it's just to let people know that the people elected me, okay, and people who were appointed by the mayor, you know, are here to support the mayor's agenda. Okay, now, if this particular board, you know, doesn't want to take a position, that's fine, you're not required to. But one thing I won't tolerate is, you know, like a banter like this. You want to agree to disagree, that's fine, but don't threaten me.
I'm not.
Okay. Now, you know, so it's your right to go ahead as a private citizen, get up there and speak, you know, in opposition to this. That's absolutely everybody's. That's your right. You know, as a planning board member, you know, the planning board section 12-14 or 14-12, 14.
Chapter 14.
Chapter 14.
That's planning board and planning
Section
department.
2-1. You know, the planning board is operating at the direction and the control of the mayor. Okay, so that, you know, this is the direction that I'm taking the planning board, I'm taking the city, because as I said, not a single person in the city voted for any appointed member. The people of the city voted for the mayor. So the people of the city expect the mayor's agenda to be carried out, not an appointed person's agenda to be carried out. And that's where Joe Caponegro went wrong.
Reminds me of a question. Do you think that homeowners might feel like it might affect their assessed values of their properties?
I don't know, and I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm really not, you know, because, yeah, if you interrupt us again, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Okay, I've heard you make several sighs. This meeting will be held with respect in both directions, please. Thank you. I'm not too concerned about that. Because again, there's more at stake here than any one individual person or any small group of people.
Please don't get upset when I say this, but this is America. We do not live in a foreign country that one must comply with the person in charge while you're gone. My way or the highway is not the American way. It may be a political way, but it's not an American way.
You made a comment a moment ago about the fairness to the developers, and I'm going to use very strong language right now that you might not like. I don't give a damn about the developers. I really don't. And this is the direction I'm taking the city, and anybody that's appointed under me that gets in my way, I'm going to remove.
See, I don't like that.
But this is the I was elected with 67%. This is the direction I'm taking the city.
But these people have followed the law.
The law might change.
Setting out there.
I know, but the law might. But
Okay.
again, this is the direction I'm taking the city, and this is. I said you might not like that. I said I warned you this is going to be strong language, but I got a 67%. I have a mandate. Okay, this is something that we have to do for this planet. Okay, there is the climate science on this is irrefutable. We know what's happening, and the speed at which stuff is progressing is just it's almost to the point where it's beyond repair. And so there may be different ways we can go about getting to the same conclusion, but this is the direction I'm taking the city. And that's this might be my last term, or maybe I have one more term. I don't know. But I campaigned on two issues. One of them was downtown revitalization. The other one was the preservation of the environment. And as individuals, as private citizens, and this is what I said to the planning board, you can go ahead and oppose anything you want, and that is what it is. But per city ordinance, the boards and the commissions fall under the direction and control of the mayor. And this is the direction I expect the boards and commissions to go on. And like I said, though, this is something that I've been very clear with some folks on the planning board about. In fact, the language I might be even using tonight might even be more strong than what I used on Monday night. So, Brian, yes, yeah, if you would. Back to the developers, though. I say this, and it might sound cocky, and I don't really care. I've knocked on more doors than every other politician in the city combined. That's how I got to be where I am, and I do that every election. I've got a good pulse on what the people like and they don't like, and this is something that the public is going to be on the side of. They look at the end of Pleasant Street with the development there, with Cooper's Farm, and what's happened on Pike Ave, and what's happening on Pike Ave, what's happened at the end of Slater Street, as a travesty. And I do too. I look at that and I'm disgusted with it. I can't stand seeing what's happening continue to happen. And so some people can get rich on this. The other night, one person has kind of pushed back on this, and I said, with all due respect, no one elected you. You're a member of my administration, and you, as a private citizen, you can do whatever you want. But as a member of my administration, you have a supervisor, a boss, and ultimately that's the person that appoints you. This is the direction I'm taking the city. As a private citizen, you can do whatever you want, but and so I think he got that. The difference of opinion, the disagreement is only going to make for a better end product. Okay, but so that's one thing. That's a good thing. On the other hand, and I used the example of Joe Caponegro recently, but don't work against me. And that's not a threat. I'm just that's my thinking on it. Because as I said before, the people elected the mayor to carry out an agenda, not for anybody to get in the way.
In closing, I hope the mayor puts our ideological differences aside and understand that through my entire time in the commission, I've always acted, discussed, and voted for what I thought would be in the best interests of the citizens of Attleboro as a whole. If he does not choose to remove me, if he does not and chooses to remove me, so be it. However, in the future, if another mayor would ask me to be a volunteer on a position on the Traffic Study Commission or any other commission or board within the city of Attleboro, I would gladly accept and continue to act in a manner that would service what I believe to be for the citizens of Attleboro as a whole, not any particular group or individual. Thank you.